what's up? This is Would You Stay Tuned? What's the premise? What's the premise of the show, and what's the premise of the show? I feel meta, dude. The premise of this podcast is basically, hey, we watch a pilot. Usually one of us has watched it already. And we go through it and see and talk it out and see if, based off this pilot, if we would stay tuned to the whole series.
Although
or not.
we actually do have examples where nobody saw it. Like when we did Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, Dan and I hadn't seen it yet. We just chose to like do it for the podcast. So
you really risked it there because the movie was horrible.
Well, that's the movie.
Yeah.
And then the show, we were like, oh, it looks like the comic book, which is kind of what everyone wanted from the beginning.
Right.
So but yeah, we're here.
There's a lot of things like that. We've done the Penguin, we've done other shows like that. Sometimes we have you done a show that we haven't stayed tuned?
Jury Duty. Jury Duty was one.
Okay, got it. Okay. But the Penguin, not only did we stay tuned, but we watched all of it.
Yeah, I just kept watching. Yeah. So I was like, oh.
On this episode, we're discussing the UK show Utopia by David Kelly,
originally released
which
in what
premiered
year?
2013. It only had 2 seasons. Two seasons.
Yeah,
that's
the only.
Series. I guess they go with series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I feel like the series makes a lot more sense because of how short they tend to be. They tend to be a lot shorter than a typical season of television.
But also, they tend to buy shows in a way where they're like, produce this in a way where this might be the end. And they do that every time. So that's why they're like, you got another one. Like with especially with like BBC shows, they tend to be like, like Luther is a good example. Every time they did another season of Luther, they're like, this is probably the last.
They're more self-contained, you mean? Like
they're designed to end every time.
Yeah.
You know, kind of.
Yeah.
Like even Doctor Who, it kind of ends every time. It's just another Doctor later.
But,
you know,
like I feel like there's better cliffhangers and there's better endings to seasons on British shows. I'm gonna go ahead and fucking go on a limb and say that.
Okay.
I prefer Look, everyone loves The American Office, dude. But after after I saw the entirety of The Office, I went back and I watched like the first season of the UK Office,
right?
And I like it better.
Yeah,
I like it way better. I think because clearly it's different. I get it, you know.
Yeah,
but I feel like they don't. And this is maybe even just my opinion, but I feel like
it is
UK humor. Yeah, it is. Yeah, clearly with UK humor. It feels like the US shows do like a wink and they're like, but just joking, you know what I mean? And they don't. They're just like, it's the same thing. Like I've noticed people on talk shows, American actors and then British actors, and a British actor will do a bit or a joke on a talk show and they'll never say, just kidding. They'll just commit to it, and it's like you either get it that I'm joking or you don't, and it's fine. Where a lot of American people on talk shows.
So you're saying British humor is pretty dry, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I think the other thing is that, at least I haven't seen that much of The Office, nor that much of the British Office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the primary difference to me is that the British Office.
Hello,
the British Office is very willing to make the what's his name, the Ricky Gervais character, a huge asshole and commit to the fact that he's a huge asshole.
Yeah.
Whereas the American Office, Michael Scott is a dumbass, but he means well and he's trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
He's he's nice, you know. But whereas the British one is like, no, he's just a fucking piece of shit. And he's there.
and it's like even when he's trying to do good things, he's doing them in the way a piece of shit would do.
Yeah.
And I like that better. I like that better. It like I don't know. It works better for me, and also it makes, if anybody's, I mean, a lot of them a lot of the people in general have had an office job for the most part,
right?
I assume, and so you immediately know that, like, look, that's a toxic environment. Like, you know that, like, it's just a toxic work environment, and you immediately know that, like, you create this bond which the people of the office have because you have somebody like David, where like in the US office, it's like, well, he's kind of a nice guy. Like, what, you know, like I get it. Like he's kind of annoying, but he's a really nice guy. Like overall, he means well. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's less an incentive to be like, oh, we're a group and we're kind of trauma bonding. Where in the UK version, like they're clearly trauma bonding. You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, Utopia. I'm the one on this episode that's seen the entirety of the show.
Okay, a quick question.
Yeah.
Just because it does exist and I don't know what it is about, the 2020 Utopia, how does that relate to this?
Good question, dude. And it feels like it's a setup. Like you set me up for this, but good question.
Oh.
So the 2020 version of it
is it a remake or a continuation?
No, it's a remake. It's that one is it's reimagined for like a US audience by Gillian Flynn. So what happened was, this is what happened.
Okay.
They were doing Utopia in the UK, and they did series 1 and they did series 2, and there was supposed to be a series 3.
Right.
And what happened is that David Fincher was like, I fucking love this show. I would like to take a stab at, And HBO was like, dude, if you want to do TV, we'll buy it for you. We'll buy the rights to it. Right. So they went to, I think it was Channel 4 who was airing it, or, they went to the production company and said, hey, don't do a season 3. Let us buy it. We'll let David Fincher do it. And whatever you're going to use for 3, we'll use it for 3. You know what I mean? We'll use those ideas. And like many David Fincher projects, he's into them for a while and then he kind of loses interest.
Yeah.
And this is one of the projects where he lost interest. And Gillian Flynn was involved from the beginning. She was always going to write the show for David Fincher. And so David Fincher left and she stayed on, and it became her creation for the US one. And for a while, like it didn't have a home. Like for a while, like it was HBO in the beginning. But then since Fincher lost interest, they lost interest as well. So it was kind of up in the air. There was like no one really had the rights. And then eventually Amazon stepped in. And
did they ever get around to using those third season ideas in the new version?
Here's the thing. I didn't finish season 1 of Utopia, the US version. So I assume not. Not.
Okay.
Maybe, because they did do 8 episodes.
But the implication then is that the British version never finished.
No, it didn't. So
okay, that's very unsatisfying. That alone makes me want to not continue.
Well, but again, every season, it's its own thing. So
sure,
at the end of season 2, you get a satisfying ending, just like the end of season 1, you get a satisfying ending. You know what I mean?
Okay. So it could be like it could be like season 4 of Breaking Bad, where it ended really satisfying, and people were like, "This could be where it ended," but then they had an extra 5th season, which did a big old denouement with everything.
I did see the first. I want to say the first 2 episodes of the American version, and that one had a decent cast. Like it was John Cusack was in it. Rainn Wilson was in it. Who else would be like a big
John Cusack?
The guy that was in Euphoria, the young kid, Javon, played the little the youngest drug dealer.
Okay,
not the guy who passed away just recently. The guy who plays his brother is in the Utopia version.
Okay,
but they had decent actors and all. It just like didn't. I don't know. It was a combination of a lot of things. I guess my main thing is that Utopia, the UK version, has a very distinct feel, music, the saturation of like the cinematography, how it's oversaturated is like specific to it, and it just didn't feel the same. They try to be different, and I'm like, you should have just done kind of the same thing, and like you could have done that with like a US audience and kind of look cool,
Well, before we continue further, maybe you could give us an elevator synopsis of the pilot, just like the premise, I guess.
So the elevator pilot of the elevator pitch of the pilot is basically 5 strangers who are like online comic book like nerds. Like if they're in like forum, imagine like people that would be going to Comic-Con and stuff like that.
It's like an IRC chat they enter.
Yeah.
And there's this specific like graphic novel that they're interested in, and it's called the Utopia manuscript, and they all want to read it. And the prophecy is that the person who wrote it had gone mad and done this graphic novel. I guess I guess it would be kind of like an Alan Moore type.
Right.
I want
something like
if Alan Moore was like a scientist, before.
Do they explain how and why the original Utopia Experiments graphic novel like got distributed? Like, how did these people get to know what it is?
They kind of touch on it a little bit, later on. Yes.
Okay. Because I was a little confused about like how did it gain a following?
Yeah.
If
I
Becky,
imagine
for
that,
instance, is trying to pitch it to other people.
Yeah.
Well, I imagined there would be an explanation. It just wasn't necessary for the purposes of this.
Yeah.
Very, very fast setup. This episode's lightning fast.
So there's a group of people that are looking for it, and one of them says, "Hey, I got a hold of it. I bought it. I have possession of it." And so that's one storyline, basically. And the other storyline is it starts off and you realize like just like our current world global politics is that look, there's a shortage of food in some places, there's a wild soaring grocery prices, and some corrupt cities have overpopulation meetings. yeah exactly. It's funny because hearing what's happening, I'm like, this is exactly like fucking Utopia. So you have you have a guy who works for like the British version of like the CDC, like the CDC, like the health
Department
organization.
of Health.
Yeah.
And
they're
it's like our FDA.
Yeah.
It's like our FDA thing.
And
where we get our brain medicines.
Yeah.
And
he's in charge of picking like the next year's flu vaccine, and like what it's kind of like seeing projections of like what's going to happen the following year. So he's in charge of getting any vaccines for any outbreaks that he sees coming up in the future. And like, you have this like shadowy organization who's like pressuring him to like buy this vaccine for, what is it? The Spanish
Russian flu.
The Russian flu.
Yeah.
And they had to make it sound evil, so it's Russian.
Yeah. And then
the company is called Corvette, right?
Yeah. Corvette. Yeah.
It's this big like conglomerate.
It's the same company that's being implicated in the Utopia thing, I believe. So
that's the thing that Becky mentioned. So they're kind of like the umbrella corporation here.
They're the umbrella. This is just Resident Evil. This is Resident Evil before the zombies.
But there's no zombies in this one. And then you have the kind of third storyline, which is these two, I would call like fixers / hitmen.
Yeah.
Who are chasing down the manuscript.
They act like aliens.
Well, they're chasing down the second volume because the first volume had the original Utopia papers or whatever was already out there. And there's a secret second volume that was like bought from a comic book store.
Yeah.
Like it's a very dramatic opening where everyone in this comic book store is killed because one of the employees had sold it to like one of the people in the IRC chat. And one of the people they kill is a small boy. It's a very quick way to let you know that they mean business.
Yeah, and also, I think they do a really good job in like the opening scene to tell you like, they're killers, and not only are they killers, but they have there's no rules to these guys. Meaning like there's no like, oh, we don't hurt women and children. They're like, we hurt fucking everybody.
Right.
And clearly they make it so the main, I guess it'd be the main killer, Darby, sorry.
Arby's.
No, it is. He is Arby. His name
is Arby. Okay.
According to synopses, there's an Arby and there's a Lee.
Yeah. Okay. Arby, he's kind of he feels like he's got a little like kind of like autism bit.
I think he just seems extremely bored by it all. He's just like,
well, it's kind of clear that like maybe like he is like a full on sociopath. He has no feelings about this, and then he's his partner. What's his name? Lee?
I guess so. Lee, the guy in the suit.
Yes, the guy in the suit. Lee. He carries around like this canister of gas, and that's how they kill people.
Well, in this particular scenario, it was because they were trying to frame them all as having a carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah.
So that's why. Yeah. Otherwise, they'll do all sorts of ways. Like
that's true. That's true.
So it's like of the 5 IRC people, it's an office worker who's like a tall, skinny black guy. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
There's like Ian. Okay, it's Ian. There is the this is an Indian guy who's like
Wilson,
mm-hmm. who is like a survivalist. But like
he's like a doomsday
paranoid
prepper.
Conspiracy theory guy.
He's a prepper. Yeah, he's a prepper. And he's got his own like nuclear.
He's got an underground
fallout shelter. Yeah, he's got a fallout shelter. He's got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
One is a lady who is a PhD student.
Becky.
PhD candidate. Another is just a small boy who is
Grant.
like he's a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And the last one
lives in a broken home with a drug addicted mom.
He's like a hooligan.
Yeah, he's a classic English hooligan.
Yeah.
And then there is Devin. Is that his name? Devin? He was the one who bought the second manuscript.
Oh, Bijan.
Bijan.
Yeah.
Okay. He bought the second manuscript.
Yeah.
And
he's kind of
seems
like
like a rich
guy. Like almost like a tech bro kind of person. Like
in the
comics.
Right. And then the way the plot really begins is he tells his 5 friends or his 4 friends, I got this.
Yeah, let's meet up finally in person.
Yeah,
they never met up.
Yeah, but then but I brought this up because the way they kill him is make his look like a suicide.
Yeah,
like he jumped out a window.
Yeah.
So you got that, but then the little boy has grabbed the manuscript already and
he's
ran
a witness
off.
to it, and then they frame him.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to tread lightly so we have spoilers for the first episode and not for the second episode. In case you
they don't actually in this episode they don't frame the boy.
Oh boy. Okay. So already I started with the spoilers. So we'll say this: the opening scene is really good because they're interrogating the comic book shop owner, and then they tell him. What's funny is they tell him, "Oh, we're gonna give you this gas," and he's like, "Oh no," and he's like, "Oh, just gonna put you to sleep, and then we'll walk out," and then he's. As he's taking gulps of air, you could tell like he immediately knows like, oh nope, I'm gonna die, dude.
Well, crucially, he sees the other guy on the ground dead.
Yeah,
with his eyes open.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh shit, that's a complete lie. I'm fucking gone.
Yeah. So
and then we'll do all their storyline as one, and then we'll come back and do the rest of them. So basically, you have this group of killers chasing them down, and you have this little kid who's on the run because he now has a manuscript. He stole it from the bad guys, and he saw them, setting up that murder that looks like a suicide. Mm-hmm. And then you have the like CDC guy, the health organization guy, that he was seeing a sex worker, and they basically say, hey, we're going to expose you to your wife and all this stuff unless you do this for us.
Well,
and
she's pregnant.
She's pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, well, the sex worker is pregnant.
And
and
the Russians have something on him.
Yeah.
Nothing like real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Not like the Trump pee-pee tapes.
Yeah.
And they basically blackmail him into doing things and like ordering the Russian flu vaccine and falsifying his boss's signature. And at first, like it looks like everything's going tits up. Like they fire his boss for ordering all these, this huge order of Russian flu vaccine. And then there's an outbreak, and then he looks like a hero.
No, you're going straight into episode 2 again.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Did you rewatch just episode 1, or did you just keep watching?
You just kept watching, didn't you?
I kept watching.
Yeah,
dude,
so
you need to stop doing that on these that you already know.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
You have to have some idea of what.
Delete that. Okay, I know exactly where to end.
Okay.
So you have the kid on the run. You have the.
Jesus, turns out the kid's a robot who has a laser arm.
Yeah. And then the entire group of people of the comic book people, they're on the run too because they realize like, oh, they're after us, and they go on the lam too, and they're hiding in Wilson's place, and Ian and Becky start having a thing. And
that's not what happens. What are you describing? That's not what happens at all. What happens is they hang out for a long time at the bar. They have a good time. They just end up in Wilson's place just to hang out.
Edit this. We'll go.
No, we were leaving all the shit in. This is a good portal into Ricardo's mind.
That's right.
They try to have sex, but he's too drunk to have an erect penis.
Yeah.
So
and in front of Wilson, by the way.
He's knocked out.
Unconscious Wilson.
Yeah. Still, how many times have you pretended to be asleep? Yeah.
But still is valid.
Yeah. But what does happen is that eventually they catch up to Wilson, the bad guys.
Yes, because Wilson, he's like, wait. Who's it? Bijan? They're like, he's like, I'm Bijan. I'm good friends with Bijan. I know he couldn't have committed suicide. Here's evidence. The evidence is the type of medical record they're using didn't exist back when he was prescribed this medication. Therefore, this must have been modified recently. And he tells that to the detective, but says, don't write this down, detective, because if you do, they'll find you.
Yeah.
And of course he writes it down, which ends up getting the detective killed and leading them to Wilson. There's a whole torture scene where they torture him in the basement.
We should say that Wilson is not only like a doomsday prepper, but he's like a conspiracy theorist. He's like 10 things rolled into one, right?
Yeah, he's even like trained himself to dislocate his thumbs so he can get out of handcuffs. And all sorts of stuff.
He what else does he doesn't he know? Like he knows like a lot about computers and stuff, and like he's like
he's like a hacker as well. Yeah.
And so they track Wilson down, and they are going to torture him. And man, I've seen a lot of like movies where there's torture, but never have I felt it like this one.
I thought
was it just me?
It was just you, I think. I thought this was honestly pretty tame because they keep cutting away. So I was like,
I don't know. My mind is a lot worse than my.
I mean, like the proposed methods of torture are, very horrific and nothing you would ever want to experience for sure.
Which
maybe it's because also
if you don't want to know, skip ahead. If you want to know, stay tuned. So basically, they say we're going to torture you. They basically tell him, and we're going to torture you by way of eyes.
Right.
And so they have 3 things and a spoon. So they have 3 containers and a spoon. And the first container is it salt?
Chilies.
It's chilies. Oh yes.
It's chilies, it's sand, bleach, and then the spoon.
And so they put the chilies, which already fucking hurts my eyes, dude. Just thinking about this. Versus the chilies, then the sand, and then the bleach, and then they scoop out one of his eyes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he eventually dislocates his thumb, and he escapes. And he reaches the other.
Well, he has a little window of opportunity to escape because the guy in the suit is obsessed with having cigarettes. He always needs to have a cigarette.
Yep.
And while he's out, he dislocates his thumb and picks up the gun, crucially.
Yep.
And has the gun when the torturer comes back down. However, he's blind. Wilson's blind. And so he's just kind of like, just pointing around, randomly, hoping to get a shot at him. And the guy is like creeping forward slowly, trying to switch up where he is. And very satisfyingly, Wilson successfully shoots him by accident.
Yeah.
right in the torso.
It would have been great if it was like, actually, I can see. And then
yeah. And by this point, Ian and Becky are looking for Wilson, and they go to the original comic book store where the crime happened, where the people were killed. And finally, Wilson calls him and tells him, "Hey, I'm hurt. Pick me up." And they go pick him up, and they go hide out. And then
at Becky's.
Yeah, it's at Becky's.
Well, one thing that also happened in the middle of all this is that once they realized this group was involved, they have framed them all for sex crimes.
Yes.
So very quickly, Ian was implicated of pedophilia and then exonerated and rape. And then
his brother had to come to get him out of jail. I don't know if it's because a bail was posted or anything, but
that happened very fast. The way it's edited made it seem like it took place over the course of months because he was already in a prison uniform. He talked to a lawyer and there was all this stuff, but it actually must have taken over the course of a day.
It happened within a day.
It was fast.
Yeah,
the justice system in UK works pretty fast, dude.
It's even faster than Phoenix Wright.
Yeah. And then they go to Becky's house to hide out, and
Becky admits the reason why this is her PhD is because for some reason this there's a type of neurodegenerative disease called Deal's disease. That it has only started in 1986, and there was no record of it before that. Yet this Utopia manuscript contains evidence of it before that. So she's like, okay, what's going on? It's all connected to this one pharmaceutical company.
Also, what else will it predict, basically? What else can it predict?
Also, the other mystery is that the killers keep saying, where is Jessica Hyde?
Yeah. They keep looking for 2 things, the manuscript and Jessica Hyde.
Yeah.
And you don't know who Jessica Hyde is. You just know that they keep fucking talking about Jessica Hyde.
Right.
And at the end of the episode, spoiler alert, there's a knock on the door. Becky opens it, and it's Jessica Hyde. She says,
"Hi, hello, my name is Jessica Hyde."
Hi, I'm Jessica Hyde.
And she at the end of this episode, you see that she's got the same kind of look or demeanor as Arby, basically.
A little bit, huh?
Yeah,
that's true. Just in that little moment, you pick up a little bit.
Yeah, they have the same kind of dead look kind of thing. It's hard to describe, but it's fucking top-notch acting by there's a lot of good actors in this, but I fucking love Arby and I love Jessica Hyde and I like and you know what, I like everyone's great. We should say that Stephen Rea, what's his name?
Who's that?
From the Crying Game is in this.
Yeah, he's one of the ministers or something. Or like one of the people selling the Russian flu or something.
He's from the Crying Game and
he's in Corvette. And he's like the Corvette guy.
Yeah. Which he's a fucking great actor.
Okay, so I feel like I need to finally start talking about this. So you were talking about you really like the acting.
The little spoilers.
No, you're saying you really like the acting.
Yeah.
I don't.
Really?
I actually almost every aspect of the show I actually found kind of annoying or didn't like.
Really?
Yeah. I actually. I'm just going to say this up ahead so I can like kind of frame the rest of the discussion, at least on my end, which is I would not stay tuned. Okay. In fact, about 2/3 through the episode, I was like, I kind of want to stop.
Wow.
I think there's a few things. One is that it feels like this type of the editing drives me nuts. I really don't like it. It's like this like Sherlock style editing, like the British show Sherlock, which I find really annoying.
It's British editing.
No, there's a lot of great British shows that do not have editing like this. This is like
another show that doesn't have editing like this.
That police procedural show that is just, or Luther doesn't have this type of editing. But there's like one where it's like just police station interrogations that I forget the name of it. But it's on Netflix and they only have like 5 episodes a season or something. But it's got this like super it's a combination of two things. It does like the type of editing which annoys me, which is the Sherlock style editing where I'm going to cut really fast, do a lot of parallel, kind of do lots of like jump cutting of characters talking off screen. The same character is talking but not talking on the screen because it's a jump cut. And it does the thing that Sherlock loved to do, which is like when people are doing things on digital devices, they're going to show the character and have their text like slide in diegetic. And I'm like, all of this I find really annoying style. But then it's combined with, it feels like a lot of it is trying to make up for lack of coverage because there's so many shots where I'm like, it just cut away. And I'm like, it feels like you're cutting away because you didn't grab the shot you needed, or you're cutting away because you didn't think about how this would edit together. So you just jump cut. And there's a lot of parts where I'm just like, this editing is really annoying. I also think
I want to jump in and say I love that, but it's very dated. Like,
but that's part of it. Yeah, it's very like this feels like when Sherlock came out, and I think Sherlock
this came out first, and then Sherlock.
Yeah, and I find that era of British television really annoying.
See, I like it. Because this was the first thing I had seen. I hadn't seen Sherlock before this. I hadn't seen
right.
To be fair, I'm trying to think. Okay, I had seen Spaced. before.
Well, Space is very different. Space is so intentional.
But
they're so intentional.
I'm thinking of what British show I had watched before this, and I'm sure I've watched many of them. But of this era of me being an adult, I think this was the first show that I was like, oh, cool. Like, oh, this is fucking interesting. We hadn't been used to Sherlock for fucking 4 seasons and all, So this was cool to me, and it's still, even now, like, not only am I doing spoilers because I'm remembering things,
right.
So I only watched four episodes this time around, but I've seen it all of it. So yeah. Now it's all blending in, and like, even though I watched this episode like a couple weeks ago, probably a month or two ago, but now it's all blending in, and I'm like, oh, I do fucking love everything about it. I like how every show starts with like a really like ultra wide shot, and like there's always voiceover over it, like news coverage voiceover over it. But again, it's very fucking dated. So like, if you like Sherlock and British shows of like, what is it, early 2010s? It was 2013. Yeah, like you're gonna love it.
At the same time, I think, and I'll weigh in here because for my part, it didn't sway me in either direction. The editing at all, like it just wasn't something I myself was noticing too much, and so I do believe that there's a portion of our listenership who likewise would not really put too much stock in the editing style in terms to speak to how much they like it.
Yeah, and also that's like the smaller point to me. The larger point, I think, is because I am not setting this show up for success because I had just seen as much of Severance that exists as it currently does. And Severance is also kind of a mystery box show. And I think it is such a good representation of what a mystery box show is that this one feels so outdated now. Where
you've been Baldur's Gate 3'd with Severance on this show.
Sort of. Yeah. So
100%.
Yeah. Because to me, the comparison is this is a mystery box show. You have two mysteries going on. Why is this manuscript so important? And who is Jessica Hyde? Why do they keep asking for her? And I guess a third is how does it all connect to this overall
to the big corporation,
right? And some sort of like a medical conspiracy going on. Seems interesting, but it's set up in a way where because of shows like Lost and other shows that have been based entirely on mystery boxes, I'm sure this show doesn't do this, but I'm wary of the possibility that it just keeps going. But what's the next mystery? Then but whether that we've answered that. To be fair, it's not just Lost
because it's a British show.
Yeah. Do that and shit. To be fair, it's not even Lost that really X-Files did this to some extent, Whereas it's
mostly shows that don't have an ending. It's mostly American shows, to be honest. Because
the thing is,
all British shows have an ending.
The thing is, no, go ahead.
The best part of the British Office, and I'll spoil it for you, even though you haven't seen it, that it ends with the equivalent of Pam and Jim getting married.
Okay.
I mean, not getting married, but hooking up. Which
something
for me, that would have been the perfect ending. If you would have ended The Office when they hooked up, or when they got together, not hooked up, but finally, say, hey, we're going to be together now. We're free to be together. That would have been the perfect ending. And I think from that point on, there's funny episodes, but to me, that was the great fucking button on it. Just like the British one, boom, we're done.
Well, the thing I was gonna extrapolate upon though is that I think Severance found a really good solution to make you not worried about what the conclusion of the mystery box is, because Severance also is a mystery box show. It's basically two questions: why are they severed, and what is the work that they're doing, and why? What is going on, right? Mm-hmm. And the way they get around this problem is that the characters are really, really fucking good. The characters in Severance are so rich and detailed that the mystery is almost just a catalyst to continue seeing these characters and how they interact. Mm-hmm. And with this show, maybe I'm just a huge cold-hearted, cynical bastard, but I don't find any of these characters that interesting at the moment. I think part of it is that he's the put upon office worker. She's the smart bookworm type who knows what's going on. He's the survivalist conspiracy theorist guy who ends up being right. He's a scrappy little kid, it's sort of all, I don't see anything like hooking me into being wow, these are real. If you, for example, in Severance, without going into spoilers, if you took just any one of those characters and you had a show just about that one character, it would be a great show. In this show, if you took any one of these characters and you had a show about just that one character, I don't think it could work. And that's what I found. I think Severance almost ruined these types of shows for me, because now that I've seen what a really, really good example of grounding your mystery box with amazing characters does. Mm-hmm. Now that I see an older show that's mystery box, I'm do I want to keep seeing these guys? Because I'm not that concerned about the mystery, to be honest. I go,
but now you're saying
there'll be something.
Now I've seen talkies. Now I don't want to see.
That's true to some extent. But there's there's some silents that are still really, really good. One that I always talk about is The Lodger, Hitchcock's first movie. It's a silent film. It's really good still. But
I think that, to me, if there's a cool hook or idea or something that gets me, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about spoilers.
I know that's what you said before. You said
I'll forget. I've forgotten how this one ends, to be honest. I've forgotten how the last. It
doesn't end, right? You said
the last 3 episodes of the second season end.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, I think your reaction to this, Marvin, is a little more extreme than it would be if you hadn't been so fresh off of Severance.
Yeah,
I think also
we should say
you were gushing to me about Severance days ago.
Yeah. It's like you. It's like
to be fair,
this is a window into your thinking, Marvin.
Yeah. To be fair, it's like having seen enough of Severance. When we just haven't
seen any Severance.
It's like Marvin.
Please don't spoil any Severance.
No. When we went back to Deep Space Nine, I was like,
I'll bet. I'll fucking bet, Marvin.
Yeah,
but it's like you just watched Endgame and you're like, oh, I just watched the first Hulk movie. It's not good. It's like, yeah, it's not good. But at the time, that was the only fucking comic book movie we had.
But to be fair though, in general, I've never personally been that intrigued by mystery boxes because I don't really care what the mystery is.
Are you not into like the Twilight Zone?
I mean, that's not a mystery. Twilight Zone, they're like they're not always, most of them are not mysteries. Most of them are just like, what if it was this?
There's like the twist or like what you know, like it's I lump it into the same fucking thing, dude.
Right. But the thing is, okay, this is why I think, okay, here's two different types of twists, both by M. Night Shyamalan, one of which I think is a good twist beyond just, oh, it's a twist. And the others is like, okay, sure. So like the prototype, the most famous one, Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
The twist isn't just a twist. The twist is a recontextualization of the entire story. It makes it richer. And when you rewatch the movie, knowing the twist, it's a really good movie. It's almost better knowing the twist. Whereas, let's say Unbreakable, or is that what it was called? Unbreakable?
Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
Are you talking about The Last Boy Scout?
Whereas Unbreakable, the twist that Mr. Glass is the villain is kind of like, okay.
Yeah, but
like
those are two different types of different twists.
No, but what I mean, but that's it's exactly what I'm saying though. The point of that twist is just to give you a little more information. And I don't care about just learning more information. If I can get the same amount of information or general feeling by reading the Wikipedia article on it, I don't really care.
Well, whereas Unbreakable is a bad example. Like to me, like the two different twists that are different, and I like, in fact, I like Signs more than I like Sixth Sense because to me, and I'm not a religious person at all, but to me, like the fact that like if you know like the whole twist that was like, oh, the signs weren't the signs of the aliens, it was the signs of how to survive this basically. That twist was completely different, and it doesn't. If you rewatch it, you're like, yeah, it doesn't. It's not like the Sixth Sense. You know what I mean? Not like what you said about the Sixth Sense.
Well, I don't even think Signs is a twist. I think Signs is a reaffirmation of faith, and like it's not like a twist that all those things came together. It's not a twist though. That's more of like everything happened to. I think that's more of everything came together in a way he didn't expect. It didn't like change something. It was more of like this was all set up for a reason almost. Maybe it was worth reaffirming my faith. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
But it is a type of twist.
The best M. Night Shyamalan twist is that he was the co-writer for Stuart Little.
Yeah. That's really. But if you watch it makes sense.
You can look that up. That's true.
Yeah, it's true. And I think he wrote like a romantic comedy before that. But I'll say this: you are judging this through the looking glass of Severance, and I bet you if you had watched this in between seasons or like it wasn't you literally just watched this week's episode. You literally just watched this week's episode.
But the thing is also, this is another thing that comes to mind. So what I forgot. What is Siskel's first name? Is it Gene Siskel?
Yeah,
Gene Siskel.
It was Gene.
Okay, yeah. So there's a quote by him that has always stuck with me, which is like, would I rather watch this show or movie, or would I rather watch just a uncut conversation of all the characters in a room talking? Like, what is more interesting? And if it ends up being like the more interesting thing is them all in a room talking, I think the movie's doing something wrong. And I think this was the type of set of characters where I thought
repeat that because I think I'm angry about this already.
Well, part of it also is that like, are these good? If these are good characters, if you put them all in a room and they just start talking, and that's a good enough movie on its own, And to the show's credit, I do think that if you threw all these characters in a room and forced them all to talk, you could get something interesting, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's less interesting the way it's presented in the show, actually.
Well, what's so funny is that you saying that statement to me, it's funny because to me, I do like these characters, but overall, through the series
as an ensemble, that's a thing.
But here's the thing that I am completely opposite of what Siskel said, or Ebert, whoever the fuck said it, which is, to me, if I would rather watch those characters, if I want those characters to just be talking, that makes me think like, not only is this a good movie, but I want more of these characters. Like, I think that's why Tarantino's movies are so good. Literally people just fucking talking, and I would fucking watch. You could just give me that, and I'll watch that. But it doesn't apply here.
That's where we see. But this also shows a good difference of why we have different opinions. The vast majority of Tarantino movies I do not like.
Yeah.
So
the vast majority of movies you don't like, dude.
That's not true. But.
I think Dan's in the middle. Dan's like in the middle. He's a little bit he's a little bit country, and he's a little bit rock and roll.
I guess you could say that. What I will say about Gene Siskel is that my strongest memory of him is him poo-pooing Hercules the movie. Because the animation was bad.
Yeah,
that was his reasoning for it.
Siskel and Ebert have had some really stupid takes about lots of things, not just Sure. Like, I think it was it were they advocates or critics of Halloween? I forget. Like
the movie or the call?
Yeah, really critics. They were on the wrong side of history on a lot of things, dude.
Did Roger Ebert like Halloween? Oh, no. Okay. No, it was the other way around. So Roger Ebert was actually one of the proponents for Halloween that actually gave it a long enough tail to become a hit. So like it wasn't doing well. And it's like, what is the thing they used to do where you only open in a few cities and then you go bigger and bigger? What was that called?
Limited versus wide.
Yeah. You start with like limited distribution.
Distribution,
something like that. You start limited and then get bigger and bigger. So it was starting limited and doing terribly, and then Roger Ebert was one of the few advocates to be like, hey, this is actually really good, you should see it. And then but they've also had some pretty monumentally dumb takes.
But Dan, did you hate this, or did you? Where are you? We haven't gotten to you.
I did not hate it, but I am intrigued enough to want to know more. But yeah, I don't know. I think I would give another episode or two, but I'm not like completely sold on it yet.
No, yeah. And I feel like when I watched this, I want to say the first season had already aired. So I clearly watched it like the end of 2013.
Okay.
And it was, somebody gave this to me. Like somebody was like, hey, check this out. Like someone put this like on my hard drive or something. I don't remember who it was, but they were like, it was somebody who was really into British shows. I'm like, that's all they watch. Like they were like a British show junkie, and they're like, hey, just watch the show. I think you'd really like it. And so I came in not seeing a trailer, not seeing these actors. And I think it had to have been like mid Lost, right? I'm going to look up Lost and see when that came out.
Lost ended way before this came out, I'm pretty sure.
Right?
Yeah.
When did Lost end?
And in 2010. Yep. Yeah. So it was already post like the lackluster ending to Lost, where like the first two seasons were like, fuck yeah, dude. I don't know where this is going, but they said they know where it's going, so I trust them. J.J. Abrams hasn't let me down. At this point, he hadn't. But oh boy, dude. I wish I could time travel and tell my younger self, dude, hang in there, dude, because he's gonna disappoint you so much. And Damon Lindelof.
It was more Damon Lindelof, wasn't it? Really, that ran Lost.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And even now he'll say like, "Oh, we didn't know where the fuck we were going."
No. I think during the production of Lost, they freely admitted we're kind of like freestyling it. Like you'll see where we're going, but we're kind of.
There's a lot of shows that are freestyle. But they know the ending. You know, they're like, hey, we're gonna get to the airport, but we might take 5 different highways to get there.
That's how they wrote Breaking Bad. They were like, we know how it'll end. We've known for 2 seasons. It's just we also want to give enough freedom for the characters and the actors to kind of feel it. And they wouldn't have gotten Mike, for example, if they didn't do that. You know, when they were like, man, that's
no spoilers. I haven't seen it.
Mike, the old guy. Old guy.
I don't remember that now.
He was in Deep Space Nine.
I know, but I don't remember how far I watched into Breaking Bad.
I was just stopping you there before you went any further. That's all.
Yeah. I'm just stopping you, dude. Pump brakes, dude. Though you can tell me the ending and it doesn't fucking matter. I'll forget about it and like by tomorrow.
He breaks bad.
Yeah. Having seen this when I saw it, I was into it. I started watching the rest of it, and then I watched the second season, and I was happy with it. Even though I knew like the second season is the last season, before it ended, I was fine with it. It's like, it's fine. Like I get it. And I was satisfied with what I got. And again, I like these shows. I think, and I like Sherlock. I think if it had been 2 seasons, I would have loved Sherlock. But I think because it did so well, and because at that point, not only did you have the British audience, but you had a lot of it was one of the first shows to start doing dual airings, and then Doctor Who a couple years ago started doing them as well.
It's funny because Sherlock's also a show where after the first episode, I was like, I'm done.
But again, Sherlock came after this, and it's got the same.
Actually, Sherlock came before this. I just checked. It was
really?
Before this. Yeah. So
a lot before this, or about the same?
It was 2010 as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of that early aughts issues, but I really liked it at the time. I don't know if it's nostalgia or me really liking it, but I feel like I had forgotten a lot about these episodes.
I think it's also your taste, and this is my taste too. I think.
Yeah. No, I think this is a taste thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is entirely a taste thing. Yeah.
And I do like the actor who plays Arby a lot. He was in a movie called Kill List, and he works with Ben Wheatley a lot. Do you like Ben Wheatley movies? Because I feel like you wouldn't like them.
Remind me of what he's made.
Ben Wheatley did Kill List, he did Free Fire, he did High Rise.
Oh, okay.
He did the remake of Rebecca.
He did Meg 2, The Trench.
Yeah,
So.
That was a weird one.
He's like, I'm gonna diversify.
I went to see it just because it was him. And he was supposed to do the sequel to.
I had seen Free Fire. I just it's been a hot minute, so I don't remember it that well, to be honest.
Free Fire, I fucking love.
I remember thinking it was a really good chamber piece, but I don't remember the details right now. And I think I actually wanted to see it because at the time I really liked Charlton Copley a lot.
That's another movie where I would watch a movie with every single one of these characters.
That's the thing. Yeah. It could be one of those movies where it's like they are literally all in a room, and there are large portions where we just need to talk it out before we. So that's actually literally what's going on in that movie.
Yeah. But so the actor who plays Arby is pretty amazing, and I've liked everything he's in. If you haven't seen the Kill List, there's actually a lot of actors that are in Utopia that are in the Kill List. So
I have not.
Check that out. I wonder if Ben Wheatley and Dennis Kelly are buds. But Dennis Kelly, I'm trying to think what he did. The Black Sea, that one's really good. He did. I'm trying to think of people. Oh, he
most recently Matilda the
musical. That's right.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of a departure from Utopia.
I think he's just an overall good fucking writer. He actually did the stage play of Matilda, and then he wrote the musical as well.
Interesting.
So he's good. And then he did work on MI5. If you're a fan of MI5,
which was a show and not Mission Impossible, the fifth movie.
No, Mission Impossible. It wasn't Mission Impossible 5. Sorry, it was the British show MI5.
He was originally hired to write a sequel to the Brad Pitt World War Z movie.
Yeah,
that's fascinating. Okay.
Well, it was again. I'll tell you exactly the connection to that. It was going to be David Fincher directing it. And that's why I'm sure the connection to Utopia. He had seen the thing. He probably hired him.
You gotta finish things, David.
Yeah. It's funny because I think Tarantino will end up doing this, and I wish other writer directors would do this. Which is, I think Tarantino is going to transition into doing book sequels to his movies, and
you think
I'm okay with that. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm sure. There'll be a book sequel to Kill Bill. The book.
What gives you that specific idea? Has he ever mentioned writing out books instead, or anything like that? Or
well, the book adaptation of he's already done a few books. The book adaptation of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is really good.
I heard
it's
of
really
that,
good. Yeah, it's really good, and it expands.
Did they make an audiobook of that?
Yes, they did.
And is it acted out by the actors from the movie?
No, they should have. It's Jennifer Jason Leigh who reads it, but she does a good job. She does a really good job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he'll do. He'll do movies that are books. Which I mean, that adaptation or novelization.
Why would he do that over movies though? Because he loves movies so much.
He's already said
I've seen a recent quote of his or an interview.
Yeah,
he was he was very much negative about future prospects of movie making.
Yeah.
Oh, I think, but that's him more about the current state of the ecosystem and how everything's treated as content.
But he did say, and he hasn't backed out of that. But he did say he's only doing 10 movies and then he's done with directing.
Right. Allegedly, yeah. He's doing the whole.
I think my theory is that he'll never make a 10th movie.
Well, it's possible because
I think it's too much pressure.
Yeah. Exactly.
He already canceled the movie he was doing. He was going to direct the movie called The Critic,
right,
with DiCaprio and stuff,
right,
and like Tom Cruise
about Jay Sherman.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then he backed out of it. I think because he thought it was too much pressure for his last movie. And then now, like, there's rumors like
he had this whole excuse about like the script leaked, therefore I will not make the movie. And you're like, every movie of yours is script leak. What are you talking about? Like Kill Bill was leaked like 6 years before you started production.
You're talking about Inglourious Bastards. No, the Hateful Eight. I think you're thinking of.
No,
never got leaked.
I thought that's why he said I'm never going to make this movie.
No, I think you're definitely thinking of the Hateful Eight.
Said he will not make movie because script leaked. Okay, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened to the Hateful Eight, which was. The script leaked. He said, I'm not going to do it. And then he did a couple of readings of it for charity. And then people had such a good reception to it that he rewrote it and then he made it. Okay. No, I think it's too much pressure. Yeah. I think it's too much pressure. And I think what will happen is that he'll eventually put out The Critic as a novel and he'll keep making movie novels. And it's better because he doesn't have to deal with actors. He doesn't have to deal with anybody. He just has to. It's just a script, which is all he wants to fucking do.
Now, when you say movie novel, is that just a screenplay given book form, or is that?
No, it's an extension. Like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novelization is. I don't know if you remember this. Have you not ever read a novelization of a movie?
I mean, I've read a few.
They're basically like extended versions of it, and like because there's no dialogue and there's less dialogue and it's more like prosy. It's more of what you see than what you hear them talking and stuff.
Well, it's just that I've never heard the term movie novel before. So if you just say novelization in general, then I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I thought it was amazing. It expanded on a lot of like what happened before, a lot of the stuff that happened in between scenes.
Ryan North has a great series of delving into the novelizations of the Back to the Future.
Yeah,
there's crap in there that didn't make it into the movies.
Yeah.
And what calling people low res is an insult in 2015.
Yeah. So that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, low res Bojo.
So, Bojo is, I think, is in part.
Bojo's
2.
in the movie, but low res is not.
Yeah.
A lot of what they do is they take. Because the novelizations come out so close to the movie, they take the original script, which is a lot different from the shooting script. So a lot of the time you're getting like gems or scenes that were never filmed or were never, they were cut out. And so if you watch if you read like Rambo and stuff like that, like a lot of 80s stuff, you're like, oh my God, the novelization is way cooler.
My favorite actually is, and the one that stuck out to me the most is the novelization of The Phantom Menace, which I read.
I forgot that existed, right?
Yeah, I read that before I watched the movie actually as a kid. Because I was a kid, I was way more into Star Wars. So I remembered reading it. I remember thinking, wow, this is like a really good political thriller. I remember thinking, look at all the stuff that's happening. And there's a lot more like discussion about like how certain tech works, how like Gungan tech works, and like how they're able to like go through the planet core and what that means in terms of risk and all this or other sort of like espionage / political stuff happening. And then
you're like, it really gets into Gungan politics that I
no, it literally does. It literally explains why they live apart but are symbiotically related or need to work together and stuff. Like there's like an economic system that both sides need in order to like there's all sorts of stuff that they explain.
Like there's a lot of tariff.
How did it describe Jar Jar?
Yeah.
Okay, so it does like...
Did they say Rastafarian or Jamaican?
They didn't, but it does like the J.K. Rowling style of like writing out the way he talks.
Sure.
So when he goes like Misa, whatever, right? It says Misa.
Well, I mean, what else is he saying though?
But the thing is, I read that before I watched a movie. So I read that and I go, what the hell is... he's saying.
Sure.
I'm not sure what's going on. And the thing that actually stuck out to me the most as a kid is I read the ending and the ending is super dark and like sad because like Qui-Gon's dead. They're at his funeral they're burning his body in a Viking pyre. And then Obi-Wan is like, the Jedi Council has told me I am not supposed to train you, but I'm going to because Qui-Gon told me to. And I will make a Jedi out of you yet. And then like, Anakin's like, oh my God, okay.
Good
and
luck.
Like Anakin's like kind of like mulling it over as he's watching Qui-Gon's body burning. It's almost like symbolic. But then you realize in the movie, that's like one tiny scene. And then the movie ends with a really weird like parade, which ends with the boss Gungan holding up like
this song. Weird. As a kid, I was into it.
This weird sphere.
I like, what the hell's going on in my head right now?
yeah. And I'm like, the novelization was so much better. And what I'm realizing is that George Lucas, because it's well documented what happened, George Lucas wrote the script and they started shooting before the script was done, right?
Yeah.
So probably what happened is right as he finished the production script, they handed it off to the novelization guy and he's looking at it and he's like, there's a lot I have to explain. Yeah. And the novelization is just him going through explaining why things have to happen the way they do. And
and
he's also realizing the last scene is really it should end on a somber note. It should.
It probably just wasn't there. And then the studio's that's too sad, George. Yeah. George is like, oh, okay. How about it? There's like a parade or something.
Yeah, I'll make an ending that's kind of like the end of New Hope, except
you know what? This is, and I hated the parade, by the way. But the song's catchy, so it gets me.
I know. Yeah.
I hate. There's a couple things that I hate, dude. One is marathons. I fucking hate them, dude. Like running your own time. If you want to run for charity, just say this, dude. I swear to God, if they did this, if they said we're gonna do the LA marathon, okay, we're gonna do it Sunday in the middle of fucking like May, dude. Right? Mm-hmm. We're gonna close a bunch of the streets down. It's gonna be an inconvenience to everybody in town. Okay. Or you could donate $25 to $50 to whatever AIDS walk, whatever the thing is, and we won't close anything down. We'll save money on paying the cops to be there and security and save so much money. I'd be like, where do I send this fucking $50, dude? Do it. We would gladly pay, dude. And I hate fucking parades. I hate the Rose Parade. I hate every parade.
Yeah.
But then that could be viewed as extortion. It's like, you better pay us or we're going to have a fucking marathon.
No,
if you don't pay us, we're going to force a parade through your neighborhood.
Yeah. No. But this is the marathon. So it's if you don't pay us, we're going to have runners just running around town.
Yeah. But that's
Utopia.
Yeah.
Utopia. I stayed tuned. I stayed tuned for this for the American version for one episode, and then I didn't stay tuned at all for this for the rest of that.
And then Marvin didn't stay tuned. No. But what about Dan?
I would like to see you watch the American version. What if you like the American version?
I don't know. I think it'd have to do something more than just here is the mystery box. That's my biggest critique. It's just that even before the Severance, I was just never. It's why I never got into Lost. Like, I don't care. I don't care why you're lost.
You don't like mysteries, dude. You don't have the whimsy of life, dude.
Well, that's the thing. Like, my favorite movie of all time is Tampopo, and Tampopo is like the opposite.
It's because you like ramen, dude.
Well, I mean, it does help that it's a lot about food, and I do enjoy movies about food.
Yeah,
but it's also like anti-plot. It is explicitly not trying to have a plot. It's sort of just being like, here's just characters and situations that are very interesting, and the characters are cool. They're very cool characters.
Do you like coffee and cigarettes?
No, because okay, I did to some degree. That's
nothing but characters. That's
no, like some of them I do.
Wu-Tang and Bill Murray, dude.
That's the thing. Some of them like that, Murray. like the Iggy Pop Tom Waits one, the Wu-Tang one, interesting. But some of them are super boring. Like the Jack and Meg White one, like that's kind of boring. Like the one with the champagne at the end. The very first one, the one with the Italian guy and the guy who is the radio DJ from Reservoir Dogs. What's his fucking name?
Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright. It's like, it's fine. Like,
Billy.
But that's like a proof of concept, Yeah. And like there's two. I think there's two separate coffee and cigarette sections where it's just him going, I didn't lie. I'm telling you, I didn't lie. I'm telling you the truth now. I didn't lie. That's the entire 10-minute fucking scene. I'm like, shut the fuck up and leave. Like, it's so annoying.
So like, you don't like character movies? Then.
That's not a character. That's someone just arguing in a circle. That's not a character movie at that point. That's just bad dialogue. But that's the thing. It's like, I almost am like anti-mystery. I don't care about the mystery. What I care about is like what you're doing to get me along through the mystery. And there are, for example, I brought up X-Files. There's good seasons of the X-Files that do this, where like there's an overarching mystery, but it's because you're getting to know Mulder and Scully better and like seeing other things.
I've never seen
it's
X-Files.
best when the mystery is
Spoiler
directly tied to the characters.
And is also more of a catalyst to continue exploring things. It's not just we need to
Like
know what the
Lost
mystery is.
and the smoke monster.
It's like why Blacklist is not great in the later seasons, because just like, what is the answer to the mystery? Well, you just have to keep watching until someone just says it. Like, who cares then? Like, that's
it's
not
funny because Severance. I don't want to watch Severance because I'm like, I'm already having issues with work, dude. Like, it's just
okay. That's one of the things, though, is that like if you feel very nihilistic about work, like this could either be very therapeutic or it could be very triggering, depending on what you see.
Yeah.
For me, I was like, this is very therapeutic.
I want to be swept away somewhere else.
I mean, it's, and I think I was kind of caught up
where there's a smoke monster and it goes nowhere. And we never find out what the smoke monster is.
Well, now I'm scared to start. I don't know how we'll react.
Yeah. And then the other thing is that acting in Severance is so good, like shocking. I mean, like we all know John Turturro is really good, but he does a really good job in it.
I don't know,
Adam
dude.
Scott.
My favorite Turturro is Nick Turturro, dude.
Adam Scott blew me away. I did not know he could be. I knew he was a good actor because in Krampus he's pretty good, and a bunch of other things he's pretty good.
Krampus, that's a weird movie. He's like, look, I think
it's because we worked on it at work. I guess so. Like I had seen so much of it that I was like, he's doing a great job in this movie. I really like it.
Most I've seen of him is in Party Down.
Yeah, Party Down. He's great in Party Down.
We should do a. Would you stay tuned for Party Down?
Oh, that's a good one.
We've all seen it, right? So
who cares?
Has Sarah?
Just watch it. We just watched Party Down again.
Yeah. What was the catchphrase? What was the catchphrase? Are we having fun yet?
Yeah. But Adam Scott is so good in Severance. Like he is amazing. And then like even
not
characters
like these pieces of shit in this show.
Yeah, it is.
No, I think they're fine. I think their editing is this is a disservice to them. You just
hate the British, dude. Also, I said it under my breath. I've never seen the X-Files. I've only seen the X-Files movie.
What? Yeah. Why would you watch the X-Files movie?
Well, because there was a lady that I liked that was into it.
That's fair.
Were you like completely lost? Were you like, what the fuck's happening? Because it makes
perfect sense.
Well, it's a direct continuation of what's going on in the show. So
I think the movie's so well written because I love that movie, by the way.
Okay, all right, that's fascinating.
It's so well written that I knew nothing of X-Files. All I knew is that I want to believe. That's all I knew. That was the thing they said, right?
Yeah.
And then there was a guy who smoked cigarettes, and at the time I was smoking a lot of cigarettes. I'm like, I like that guy.
Yeah,
that guy fucks. And I went to see it, and I loved it. But then it was at a point where, like, I think Netflix was out, like the disc ones, and I'm like, it's too many discs to ask for, and like I just don't want to fuck up my queue.
It is a lot of discs. Yeah. When I ripped it for the Plex server, it's like 200 gigabytes for all 11 seasons or something. Yeah. So it's quite a hefty amount of material.
But for this. I stay tuned already, so you know my answer.
No, I'm curious about Dan because Dan is the more in the middle, I think.
Yeah, like I'm on the fence here. Like I could or I could not. The fact that there is so little of it to see, sways me more. It's like, well, sure, why not just see what the rest of this is?
Yeah.
So I might.
Oh, you might stay tuned. Okay, all right. That's one we haven't seen before yet. So.
Yeah,
it's more like if I have time, I will stay tuned.
Yeah, like at the very least, because they like obviously put in that little stinger there. Hi, I'm Jessica. Hi, it's like, okay, fine. Yeah. What the fuck's your deal? Like, who are you actually? At least let me know that.
Yeah,
I spoiled some things for episode 2, but it's fine. I do think that song's catchy. The little song in the beginning and the end. I don't know why I like it. It's catchy. It's like the parade song from fucking.
I mean, like incorporating like electronica or like lots of beats and stuff that like grungy beats that take over a soundtrack feel very British to me.
Yeah.
The more I learn about Ricardo and his tastes, the more I think he just wants to live in Europe and it just wants to
I said it once and I'll say it again. Paris is the best city in the world.
I know. You fucking love being in France. You just want to live there.
Because they just don't give a fuck, dude. They just don't give a fuck. And I love
You're the most French Mexican I've ever met.
Yeah.
All right.
And they hate Americans. So it's on brand.
I guess that's our take on.
Oh wait, one last bit that I'll mention, just because it was like, I know that guy, I recognize him. Cool. It's Wheels from Spaced was Detective Reynolds.
Yeah.
Okay.
I should have mentioned it when we talked about Spaced for split second.
The guy who loved to rave and party.
Yeah, the British acting. Like the American acting scene is a small world already. The British acting world is even smaller. Man, it is.
What do you mean? I think it's big, dude.
No, I mean what I'm saying is the American acting scene's already small enough that you kind of go, I recognize that guy from that and that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
But the British one's even smaller, where you're just like, I finished watching you can literally be watching BBC. And because finishing an episode,
kind of it feels like it's a big acting troupe, right? Because
it feels like a big community theater thing almost. Where because you could literally finish a show, and when the next show starts on broadcast, the actor is also in that show.
It's like everyone's on the cast of Wishbone.
Yeah,
exactly.
I always bring it back to Wishbone.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Newbie, one day
I do love Wishbone. I do love. For the most
Wishbone.
part,
you do love Wishbone for the most part.
I never seen it.
I know.
I really like the British actors that come and do American parts. They just the way they're trained. There's a lot less bullshit than we do. There's no fucking method actors over there, dude.
Okay, and I need to find the footage of you saying, I hate when British actors come over to do American parts, because you said
that's true.
like 3 episodes ago with something else.
Yeah.
Well, so I need to juxtapose these two clips.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's the context of what I said in that thing. I know when I said it.
But that's the context. But I'm an evil media guy. I need to do this to Barry.
It's fine. But here's the thing. I hate. Okay. I'm trying to
In
say
fact,
this
I doubt that the context would help.
No. I think the context was that, like, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, dude. People are like, Mexicans are coming over here and taking our jobs. No, the British are, dude. They're coming over here and taking our fucking acting jobs.
That's what you were saying. Yeah, that's what you were saying.
But I do the reason is that I do appreciate the training, because if you notice American actors or non-British actors that train in like the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and then they come here, like Gal Garcia Bernal is one of them. He trained overseas.
Yeah.
He has a different type of acting that's not like Mexican style, and it's not American style, which we have a very specific type of acting. Like there's maybe like 4 different acting styles, which is, the actor studio, the Stanford Meisner method.
Right.
There's really like 4, I would call like core acting methods, and then everything else comes out of that.
But here's the thing also, is that there are technically acting methods in America, but the vast majority of actors don't use any of them. They are just...
No, it's true. And also like the more time goes by, the less people actually train in their...
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, is that old Hollywood was based on, hey, I'm a trained actor. I've trained to act. Here's what I know how to do. And I think England has sort of like kept that tradition. I mean, because the acting tradition in England is very old. It's ancient. So
also you have to take into account that like they do, like you said, this is kind of an acting troupe. Like the whole BBC is an acting troupe. Channel 4, BBC. It's kind of a big acting troupe, and they treat their system more like the theater system, where it's a repertory theater and people come in and out. And I think that's the way to do it. But nowadays, like you have a lot of people that are like, oh, you're just natural. Let's do it. And then like, I feel like that's when you hear like people having trouble on set, it's because of that. Because when everything else fails, you could fall on craft. But when you don't have the craft, it's difficult.
Well, that's the other thing too, and I think it's enough that it's become a part of like fan culture, like American fan culture, is that most casting in America is done based on whether they look the part, not whether they're good to act the part. I think one of the few exceptions I can think of is the character of Ellie in The Last of Us. Bella Ramsey doesn't look anything like Ellie from the games. And Pedro Pascal doesn't either. He's Mexican. Like he doesn't look. Well, he's not Mexican. What is he? He's Chilean, actually.
Chilean,
yeah, he's Chilean. Like he doesn't look. He's not white dude Joel, but they cast them for their acting experience.
Yeah, and which was the right way to do it.
And one, that made a really good show, and two, there is a huge amount of Americans who are really pissed about that and still are, because they're like, she doesn't look like Ellie. And part of it is that there's this weird fixation on like Ellie in details that I won't get into here. But I think the other is that the general overall way Americans view actors is whether they look the part. One of the things that drives me crazy about like fan casting and the way people are like, oh, I would cast this for this, is whether they look like they would fit in that costume and look like that hair would fit. I despise that type of casting because it's just like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like casting is like a very deep critical process that requires a lot of work.
Ronda Rousey should be every superheroine.
Yeah, dude. Come on, dude. She looks like a super now.
They're like, why is Tatiana Maslany playing She-Hulk? Like She-Hulk's like because she's a fucking good actor. That's why.
I think that's why I do like, out of the young actors. Now I sound fucking old, dude. Like, it's a young actor. I do. You know what? I do love Timothée Chalamet.
I knew you were gonna say too.
He has good training, and he takes his shit serious, and like I don't know, like he said something in a couple of interviews that I'm like, oh fuck, like this guy's got it, dude.
I mean, he said something in like his SAG acceptance speech where he was like, I want to like take my craft as far as I can, etc. I want to be like a really good actor. And I think that was, to a lot of Americans, so weird that it was off-putting. Like they were like, wait, he's talking about like acting as a craft? That's weird.
Why is it common now?
Craft cheese.
Yeah. And like, that's the thing, is that like, I find that so frustrating. And like, the thing is, the people in charge also think this way for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like it's sort of based on how they will look in the part, not how they will act in the part. And
I think that's why like Iron Man was so good, was because it took Jon Favreau convincing them like, oh, like I know this guy may not seem like your guy, but he's your fucking guy.
Right.
And like, not until you saw him, like the first footage of him for the screen test, that you're like, oh, this is, you're 100%. This is it. This is Tony Stark, you know?
Yeah. And it's,
well, ideally you do want both. You want them to both look the part and be good at acting.
Yeah. But I feel like if you're a good fucking actor, you're going to make it work. Like,
and the thing is, like, if you're
in Last of Us,
that's what I was about to say. But also, like, they modified the part to make it work for him too. They were like
they made him like Tex-Mex people.
They made him Tex-Mex. They made him Tex-Mex so that it's like, oh, that actually makes the character more interesting, because now like he's like not just white Texan man. Like he has this,
if they morph the context such that within the show itself it all lined up, then all the better.
Yeah, no, nothing. The core values of the character is unchanged. It just makes his general background and setting a little more.
What I mean by saying it's ideal for them to look the part, it's like, are the things they're doing on screen matching? It's like, is their physicality appropriate for all the action they're doing, or that sort of thing.
Right. Like if he's hired
as Aquaman.
You don't hire Jack Black as a hitman unless it's funny that he's a hitman type of thing. Unless you do some sort of miracle casting and like Jack Black can play like a really serious hitman character. I'm actually kind of able to imagine that to some degree if he's given the right direction.
Yeah.
And that might be actually
I honestly
kind of
think he can pull it off. Yeah, Jack Black could, like most.
Wasn't he like a killer in Enemy of the State? No, he was just a tech guy, right?
No, he was a hacker. And he was kind of a jokey hacker. Where he was,
you're right.
It was like there was a slight undercurrent of the fact that he's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, Robin Williams had a 1 hour photo in him.
That was a good movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey's done a lot of really good serious performances that worked out really well, in my opinion. A lot of people thought they were kind of weird, but I like them.
I think people I think Truman Show is pretty well liked across the board.
Yeah, Truman Show is about the sincerity, but like,
wait a minute, you guys don't like the number 23?
I was about to say
that's I have that on DVD, motherfucker.
That was the thing. Is that like it's not a great script?
Yeah,
but I think he does well in it. He does well enough in it. Yeah. Because the script is so
put upon animal control guy.
Eternal Sunshine.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's good in that movie. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
I think all comedic actors make really good serious actors because
many of them can.
Because it's the same thing. Like comedy is the more serious you take it, the funnier it is, and it's the same thing with dramatic acting. The more serious you take it, the more dramatic it is. And
one of my favorite turns is like just a tiny role, but Bill Burr in Breaking Bad. And I'm just like,
I haven't seen.
I forgot what he was in that.
God damn
it's not really a spoiler or anything. But he is one of the people.
I didn't know he was in it, dude. God damn it.
Oh well, sorry, dude. Well, you must have because
Adam Sandler.
You're gonna forget.
Adam Sandler.
You're gonna fucking forget when he shows up. You're still gonna pop off.
Yeah, he works for Saul. He works for Saul Goodman.
Here's the thing. I'm forgetting, dude. The comedian that comes out in Casino.
In Casino.
He died. He used to roast everybody. Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed that I don't remember his name. He's a comedian I fucking like. Don Rickles. Don Rickles.
Yeah,
he plays a pit boss in Casino.
Right.
He's serious,
yeah.
and I fucking it's a great fucking part, dude. Yeah. I like when comedians do traumatic parts. Very into it.
Oh, that concludes our discussion of Utopia, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. We ramped down really fast.
There are quite a few tangents along the way.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure where we are right now.
Yeah, we're back to Utopia. And you know what? You should stay tuned to Utopia if you want to. And also to Would You Stay Tuned if you want to. And also, you're probably here because you know of other podcasts, Newbie Star Trek. So you know where to find that already. So...
What? What's so funny about that?
What's so funny, dude?
This is all my call to actions are. You already know this, so.
Well,
how do you know?
Should.
How do you know that they didn't come from somewhere else?
If you did, let me know where you came from. You know what's funny? When we did our Blacklist episode, there are comments that were saying, "I came here exclusively for Blacklist. I didn't know you guys did other things."
That's funny. They just wanted us to do
that has to be a vocal minority.
Yeah, that's or it's a joke or but I Blacklist does have like a weird like kind of like beleaguered fan. No, they're like a tired fan base because they've all kind of had to accept this is what the show became, but they're still fans of it.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think they still kind of look for Blacklist content every once in a while.
I think I remember wondering aloud what a Blacklist enthusiast fan is like. Because it's like, if you're the obsessive fan type, you're usually focusing on better shows.
Yeah. Why did Blacklist become your thing? That's
right.
I would love to know why.
That was partially my question to you guys. Why did Blacklist become enough of a thing that you finished it?
Because Sarah kept wanting to watch it.
I think.
I see.
I think it's a thing where like I know exactly why.
Because it was also a mystery box.
You don't have to think about it. Like
that's one. Yeah, about 50% of that show, you don't need to think about what's going on. You can like eat dinner very comfortably without having to pay attention.
That's the aspect that I understand. But then my question extrapolates from that. It says, okay, say you're the type who will actually go onto Reddit and talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you are a member of the online Blacklist community, who are you? What are you doing?
I think a lot of people did hang on the initial premise and how much of a promise it was of good things to come, because it is like a really big, high concept. Wow, this could end up being like a really, really cool overall thing that, if executed well, could become like an amazing show. And you have James Spader, who's like killing it, and like all this other stuff, and like. But it ended up just being kind of like a by the numbers type of show. So
if you are listening to this because you watched the Blacklist episode, and you're like, oh, I want to see what these assholes have to say, and you like James Spader, do yourself a favor. Watch the movie Wolf with Jack
I thought
Nicholson.
you were going to say, do yourself a favor and watch Avengers Age of Ultron.
No. Wolf. Talk about like this movie is a fucking wild movie. It's a werewolf movie with Jack Nicholson.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
I think you tried to tell us about this before.
Yeah, you told us about this before. Yeah.
I try to watch it as much as I can because it's a wild movie. And it's directed by Jeff Nichols, not Jeff Nichols, the guy who did The Graduate. Who am I thinking of?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Not, goddamn, something Nichols.
Yeah.
Wooden Nichols.
Wooden Nichols.
Mike Nichols.
Mike Nichols. It's a wild fucking movie. If you look at it on paper, they're like, if you could imagine the pitch, they're like someone comes in and is like, look, I already got Mike Nichols. He's gonna direct it. What?
Yeah.
What's this movie about? Well, it's a Wolfman. It's a Wolfman movie. Okay.
We got Nichols and the Nichols son, and they're gonna be in a wolf movie.
Okay. Who else? Well, Catwoman's gonna be in it. Catwoman. Really? You got her? Yeah, she's gonna be in it. She's gonna be in it. And then
does she play a wolf?
She plays. Doesn't she turn? I'm trying to think.
I haven't seen the movie.
I don't want to spoil it. So, and then he's like, well, what do you have? Who's the antagonist? Well, James Spader. Sorry.
David
and you're like, that would have been
David
awesome,
Spade is the antagonist.
David Spade is it's like, so you got Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, James Spader, and then you have rounded out by great fucking character actors as like supporting characters. Richard Jenkins, Christopher Plummer, David Hyde Pierce,
David Schwimmer.
David Schwimmer, yeah. Dude, it's a fucking great fucking movie. You guys gotta watch
the name that stuck out to me immediately was like Christopher Plummer. Whoa.
Yeah.
I just realized that Nicholson and Pfeiffer together, it's like, like you said, Joker and Catwoman.
Oh yeah. That's a Batman.
But it's a great movie. I think fuck, dude.
DeVito should have been part of the cast.
Yeah.
You could imagine DeVito turning into a werewolf.
And Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Dude, Tommy Lee Jones and Nicholson fighting it out as werewolves. Oof.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
Well, one's a vampire, one's a werewolf.
Also, let me give you a little teaser. You see fucking Jack Nicholson transform into the wolf. So he's doing the whole transformation. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, so he's acting like he's turning into a wolf.
He's chewing the scenery.
He's chewing the scenery. I'm gonna
literally
say this is top 5 Nicholson performances for me, dude.
Now, you just reminded me of the best Johnny Cash performance ever, which is the Space Coyote in The Simpsons, and how they got him to snarl and act like he's chewing on Homer's shoe. And it's like, you got Johnny Cash to do that for you on mic. That's great.
It might be the best thing Johnny Cash ever did in general.
God damn it. You're a piece of shit, dude. You fucking blasphemer.
Hey, it's a damn good episode, though.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's a great cameo.
Yeah.
I am a coyote.
So
May Bug will be with you. Stay tuned or not. That's for you to judge.
We'll watch something else next time. I think we might do Twin Peaks next time.
Twin Peaks.
I'd be down for Twin Peaks. That's another 2 season that for a long time was unfinished.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Both Sarah and Ricardo have not seen Twin Peaks. So
I've been as of lately, and maybe inspired by this deep down and not knowing it. I've been watching a lot of shows that I either watched as a kid and then forgot about them, or like I'm unsure if I did. So I've been rewatching. This one I have watched, but I don't remember any of it. Knight Rider. I just watched again this weekend.
Oh, okay.
Which one?
The original Knight Rider with
Hasselhoff.
Hasselhoff. Yeah.
Spoiler
alert. I've forgotten that the show doesn't start with him as the actor. Like Hasselhoff has a different face. A different actor's playing him, and Hasselhoff is doing the voice.
What?
And then I forgot it was Remo Williams style. So like he's assassinated and he survives assassination, and they reconstruct his face, and the face he gets reconstructed into is David Hasselhoff's face.
Did they have to write it that way because like the actor bailed and then they got Hasselhoff or something?
No. It was always
just how they had it.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, right. And that's why like they don't recognize him, and he is like on the
Okay.
His original name is Michael Long. Yeah, his original name is Michael Long, and then there's like a botched like killing. And then this billionaire like reconstructs his face, and like he basically says like, I need you to fucking fight crime and like basically go after the people who are like untouchable. Like, but
I need you to fight crime.
It's been long enough. Hip hop can sample the Knight Rider theme again.
Oh yeah, they should.
They should do it again. People should know about the Knight Rider theme again because it's a catchy ass song.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm looking this up, let me see Knight Rider.
Get Mega Ran in there. He'd do a good sample of that. You know.
Yeah, he would.
Knight Rider came out in 82.
He's concerned with wrestling right now, though.
Oh, okay. So Remo Williams, which is a novel based off the Destroyer series, they had the same like beginning. Another fucking great movie, where he has a different face, and then he's killed, and then the government, like this group of people, like reconstruct his face and give a new identity. But I love
part of the $6 billion man's deal too, was it? Like reconstructing the face.
No, I don't think so.
No,
he's reconstructed the rest of them.
Yeah. He looks suspiciously completely normal, like a human.
Yeah. But next weekend, I think I'm going to try to do the A-Team, the pilot for the A-Team.
Oh, A-Team. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Another Charlton Copley joint eventually.
I like that movie, the remake.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it, so I just know he was in it.
It's by the guy who directed the Blacklist pilot. Carnahan.
It's by Joe Carnahan. Right. Yeah, I forgot. Really yeah. I keep forgetting Joe Carnahan has done these things.
Joe Carnahan
was in that remake.
Okay, I'll give you the cast. Joe Carnahan is like not even low key. Like he is one of the like really fun directors. Like he directs fun movies, dude. Just people don't fucking watch them. It's Liam Neeson's as Hannibal. It's David, not David. Bradley Cooper as Face. B.A. Baracus. Charlton Copley, he's playing Hannibal. No, not Hannibal. Murdoch.
Yeah, Murdoch.
Yes.
And B.A. Baracus is played by the MMA fighter Rampage. But he actually does a decent job. He's actually really
people
good
were saying, "Oh, mate, hey, this is the start of his career because he did a pretty good job."
He never did like a lot of acting, but
he never did it again. Yeah.
But it's a decent fucking adaptation. It's a fun adaptation. And especially if you watch the unrated version, because it's got like more scenes and more like the violence is like they don't cut the violence like they do on the rated, like the PG-13 version. But again, Blacklist, the connection's there. That's the only reason I'm picking it up.
All right. Well,
we keep on tangenting the heck away from anything involving this show.
Hey, Liam Neeson is a no, he's not British. He's Irish. Never mind. Trying to make a connection there. No connection.
Same island.
Yeah.
Island boys.
We'll see you guys next time. We might be back with Swim Peaks. We don't know.
Yeah. I support not declaring what we're going to do.
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't say I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. Goodbye, everyone.
See you next time.
See ya.